Trump says semiconductors will face 100% tariffs. Chip stocks are moving after hours, but they're moving higher. Chip stocks are bouncing around in Wednesday's after-hours session after President Trump announced plans to slap tariffs on semiconductors companies that aren't building in the U.S. Apple CEO Tim Cook announced a new $100 billion commitment to increase investments in the U.S. from the White House on Wednesday. Trump told reporters at the beginning of the event that he's planning to put, quote, very large, end quote, tariffs on approximately 100% of semiconductors. That was per Bloomberg. Quote, the good news for companies like Apple is that if you're building in the United States, there will be no charge, end quote. This report indicates that the Trump administration could announce new duties on all products that use chips as soon as this week. This also shows that clearly what they are trying to do is speed up the investment here in the U.S. or reshore at least parts of the supply chain here to the U.S., and that is indeed working. The report indicates that, I reread the same thing. Several semiconductor names were moving following Trump's comments. Micron is up 4.3%. Shares were up about 4.35% at the high. Taiwan Semiconductor, that's up 5.5%. Shares were up 2.4% earlier. Now, Intel down 2.5%, but there's a truth bomb that came out this morning. Trump saying that Lip-Bu Tan, the new CEO of Intel, needs to resign immediately. He didn't really go into a lot of why in the Truth Post. I'm sure that means we're going to hear more of that coming later today. But if you've been with our show for a while, the morning that we reported the news about Lip-Bu Tan, we also covered some of the possible ties to the Chinese government. And it's my suspicion that that's coming home to roost now, if you will. I'm not sure what's going to happen from this, but that's what's going on here, and we'll see. Nvidia, that's up 1.33%, and Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, which has been on an absolute burner recently, that's up just shy of 2%, 1.94%. Meanwhile, Broadcom, that was up about 1%, and Qualcomm was up just over 1%. So a lot of those chip stocks that have some type of investment or manufacturing here in the United States actually trading higher on the back of this news. Okay, now one of these, or a couple of these, I actually want to start with Apple. So let me go back to the Benzinga Pro here real quick. We'll go back to the chart. We'll take a look at Apple. I want to remind you of the setup that we were looking at in Apple and where we're at now. So, okay, here's your Apple chart. We've been talking about this one quite a bit recently. There are a number of folks that all seem to be looking at the same thing on this as well. We talked about Katie Stockton was on CNBC, I think a couple of weeks ago, saying that Apple's really kind of waiting to do this 215 breakout, and that actually looks like a good trade. So now we're actually getting that breakout. I think the question remains to be seen if this ends up becoming a crowded trade. That I don't know the answer to, but here's where we're at. You can see Apple on this move higher here by just shy of 3% here this morning, up about 626, just shy of 220. But we are above this 215 top end of the triangle. The bottom wedge of this triangle was made by a series of higher lows. And so it looks like now we're breaking out here. Next resistance area is going to be your 200-day here at 221.13. We stopped just shy of this. I know we were a little bit higher here in the pre-market, but we didn't even really peak above this level. So this is going to be the next level of interest, I think, for me. After that, we've got this 226. I almost wonder if the 222 or the 221 to 226 area provides some type of resistance. And then above that, we have 233. If we get above that, we can start looking at this 250 and then the all-time high up there near 260. But this is the trade. We talked about this, maybe breaking above this 215. We seem to be getting that here today. How much more room is there for Apple? One of the things that I would like to see, if you're not already in this, a back test of this 215 breakout area and a hold, that would be ideal for potential entry here to Apple. So we'll see if we get that. So far here, so good. It is moving higher here today. Now, Apple, Nvidia supplier TSM surges nearly 5% in the overnight trade. What's going on here? Well, this comes after Trump's tariff announcement. Quote, because Taiwan's main exporter is TSMC, which has factories in the United States, TSMC is exempt from the semiconductor tariffs. National Development Council leader Chief Liu Chin-ching told a parliamentary briefing, according to the AFP. The exemption comes as Trump has threatened 100% tariffs on semiconductor companies not manufacturing in the U.S. TSMC operates fabs facilities in Arizona as part of a $165 billion investment commitment. If anyone wants this for the other tweets and stuff, here you go. All right. Trump's escalating investment claims. Trump previously stated that TSMC would invest $200 billion in Arizona, up from earlier claims of, $300 billion in Arizona, up from earlier claims of 200. However, TSMC has only committed 165. Renowned analyst Ming-Chi Kuo suggested Trump's escalating figure serves as laying the groundwork for upcoming semiconductor tariffs, positioning the inflated number as a negotiation tactic. Boy, someone else has been saying that these are all negotiation tactics for a long time, but I can't quite place who that was. The tariff exemption provides crucial clarity for investors as TSMC supplies chips to major U.S. companies, including Apple and Nvidia. TSMC CEO C.C. Wei, try saying that 10 times fast. That's not easy. It looks easy, but it's not. Trust me. C.C. Wei previously acknowledged that U.S. tariffs create indirect headwinds, but maintained that AI chip demand consistently outpaces supply, supporting the company's strategic positioning despite these trade uncertainties. So back to the chart we go. Now we'll take a look at TSM. You know, we've talked a lot about some of these different semiconductor companies or just chips and AI, and we often talk about Google and Apple and Amazon and Nvidia and Meta and all of these other companies. And I feel like we don't trade or look at TSM enough. I've talked about this with 13. I've talked about this with the Happy Hour crew a number of times, but TSM, man, I feel like maybe we should be looking at this a little bit more, or a little bit more often, I suppose I should say. Now, where is TSM right now? Well, huge move off the 500-day, which also coincided with the Liberation Day sell-off. We've really stayed above the 20-day the entire time, except the one time that the two times that we tested this, we ended up bouncing and going higher. Now, the third time, we actually gapped beneath it. Let me zoom in here and see if it's a little bit easier for you folks to see. We gapped beneath it, traded back up, really couldn't get above it. And then today, we are now gapping above the 20-day. So this makes it fairly easy for our key levels here for a trade. I think if we stay above this 238.45, probably risk on here for TSM as we'll continue to try and take out some of these highs. Now, we do have the makings of a potential double top up here. I want to call this 247 to 248 in terms of an area. So we'll see if we're able to take that out here. If we do, we might run a little bit more.